Chapter 23. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up from before his dead and said to the Hittites, I am a sojourner and foreigner among you. Give me property among you for a burying place, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. The Hittites answered Abraham, Hear us, my lord, you are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will withhold from you his tomb to hinder you from burying your dead. Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land. And he said to them, If you are willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah which he owns. It is at the end of his field. For the full price let him give it to me in your presence as property for a burying place. Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, of all who went in at the gate of his city, No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. In the sight of the sons of my people I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed down before the people of the land. And he said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, But if you will, hear me. I give the price of the field. Accept it from me, that I may bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weights current among the merchants. So the field of Ephron in Machpelah, which was to the east of Mamre, the field with the cave that was in it and all the trees that were in the field throughout its whole area, was made over to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites, before all who went in at the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah east of Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that is in it were made over to Abraham as property for a burying place by the Hittites. Chapter 22. And again Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son, and sent his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. Again he sent other servants, saying, Tell those who were invited, See, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they paid no attention and went off, one to his farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. The king was angry, and he sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, The wedding feast is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore to the main roads and invite to the wedding feast as many as you find. And those servants went out into the roads and gathered all whom they found, both bad and good. So the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to look at the guests, he saw there a man who had no wedding garment. And he said to him, Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the king said to the attendants, Bind him hand and foot, and cast him into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to entangle him in his words. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God truthfully, and you do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, Why put me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin for the tax. And they brought him a denarius. And Jesus said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? They said, Caesar's. Then he said to them, Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard it, they marveled, and they left him and went away. The same day Sadducees came to him who say that there is no resurrection, and they asked him a question, saying, "Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies having no children, his brother must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The first married and died, and having no offspring, left his wife to his brother. So too the second and third, down to the 7th. After them all, the woman died. In the resurrection, therefore, of the 7, whose wife will she be? For they all had her." But Jesus answered them, "You are wrong, because you know neither the Scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. And as for the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was said to you by God? I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not God of the dead, but of the living." And when the crowd heard it, they were astonished at his teaching. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. "Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law?" And he said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments depend all the law and the prophets." Now while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question, saying, "What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "The son of David." He said to them, "How is it then that David in the Spirit calls him Lord, saying, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet'? If then David calls him Lord, how is he his son?" And no one was able to answer him a word, nor from that day did anyone dare to ask him any more questions. Chapter 12. These are the priests and the Levites who came up with Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Jeshua, Seraiah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Ream, Meremoth, Iddo, Ginethoi, Abijah, Mijamin, Maadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joiarib, Judea, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, Judea. These were the chiefs of the priests and of their brothers in the days of Jeshua. And the Levites, Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who with his brothers was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving. And Bakbukiah and Unai and their brothers stood opposite them in the service. And Jeshua was the father of Joachim, Joachim the father of Eliashib, Eliashib the father of Joiada, Joiada the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan the father of Jaddua. And in the days of Joachim were priests, heads of fathers' houses. Of Seraiah, Meriah. Of Jeremiah, Hananiah. Of Ezra, Meshullam. Of Amariah, Jehohanan. Of Malachi, Jonathan. Of Shebaniah, Joseph. Of Haram, Adnah. Of Meraioth, Helkai. Of Iddo, Zechariah. Of Ginethon, Meshullam. Of Abijah, Zichri. Of Miniamin of Moadiah, Piltai. Of Bilgah, Shemua. Of Shemaiah, Jehonathan. Of Joiarib, Mattanai. Of Judea, Uzai. Of Salai, Kalai. Of Amok, Eber. Of Hilkiah, Hashabiah. Of Judea, Nathanael. In the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanan, and Jaddua, the Levites were recorded as heads of fathers' houses. So too were the priests in the reign of Darius the Persian. As for the sons of Levi, their heads of fathers' houses were written in the book of the Chronicles, until the days of Johanan the son of Eliashib. And the chiefs of the Levites, Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua the son of Kadmiel, with their brothers who stood opposite them, to praise and to give thanks, according to the commandment of David the man of God, watch by watch. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akub were gatekeepers standing guard at the storehouses of the gates. These were in the days of Joachim the son of Jeshua, son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest and scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem they sought the Levites in all their places, to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, with thanksgivings, and with singing, with cymbals, harps, and lyres. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the district surrounding Jerusalem, and from the villages of the Netophathites, also from Beth Gilgal, and from the region of Geba and Asmaveth, for the singers had built for themselves villages around Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves, and they purified the people and the gates and the wall. Then I brought the leaders of Judah up onto the wall, and appointed 2 great choirs that gave thanks. One went to the south on the wall to the dung gate, and after them went Hoshea and half of the leaders of Judah, and Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah, and certain of the priests' sons with trumpets, Zechariah the son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zachar, son of Asaph, and his relatives, Shemaiah, Azarel, Milalai, Gilalai, Maai, Nathanael, Judah, and Hanani, with the musical instruments of David the man of God. And Ezra the scribe went before them. At the fountain gate they went up straight before them by the stairs of the city of David, at the ascent of the wall, above the house of David, to the water gate on the east. The other choir of those who gave thanks went to the north, and I followed them with half of the people on the wall, above the tower of the ovens to the broad wall, and above the gate of Ephraim, and by the gate of Jeshanah, and by the fish gate, and the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100 to the sheep gate. And they came to a halt at the gate of the guard. So both choirs of those who gave thanks stood in the house of God, and I and half of the officials with me, and the priests, Eliakim, Maaseiah, Miniamin, Micaiah, Elioenai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets, and Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzai, Jehohanan, Malchijah, Elam, and Ezer. And the singers sang with Jezrahiah as their leader. And they offered great sacrifices that day and rejoiced, for God had made them rejoice with great joy. The women and children also rejoiced, and the joy of Jerusalem was heard far away. On that day men were appointed over the storerooms, the contributions, the firstfruits, and the tithes, to gather into them the portions required by the law for the priests and for the Levites according to the fields of the towns. For Judah rejoiced over the priests and the Levites who ministered. And they performed the service of their God and the service of purification, as did the singers and the gatekeepers, according to the command of David and his son Solomon. For long ago in the days of David and Asaph, there were directors of the singers, and there were songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. And all Israel in the days of Zerubbabel, and in the days of Nehemiah, gave the daily portions for the singers and the gatekeepers. And they set apart that which was for the Levites, and the Levites set apart that which was for the sons of Aaron. Chapter 22. Brothers and fathers, hear the defense that I now make before you. And when they heard that he was addressing them in the Hebrew language, they became even more quiet. And he said, I am a Jew, born in Tarsus in Cilicia, but brought up in this city, educated at the feet of Gamaliel according to the strict manner of the law of our fathers, being zealous for God as all of you are this day. I persecuted this way to the death, binding and delivering to prison both men and women, as the high priest and the whole council of elders can bear me witness. From them I received letters to the brothers, and I journeyed toward Damascus to take those also who were there and bring them in bonds to Jerusalem to be punished. As I was on my way and drew near to Damascus, about noon a great light from heaven suddenly shone around me, and I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And I answered, Who are you, Lord? And he said to me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting. Now those who were with me saw the light, but did not understand the voice of the one who was speaking to me. And I said, What shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said to me, Rise and go into Damascus, and there you will be told all that is appointed for you to do. And since I could not see because of the brightness of that light, I was led by the hand by those who were with me and came into Damascus. And one Ananias, a devout man according to the law, well spoken of by all the Jews who lived there, came to me and standing by me said to me, Brother Saul, receive your sight. And at that very hour I received my sight and saw him. And he said, The God of our fathers appointed you to know his will, to see the righteous one and to hear a voice from his mouth. For you will be a witness for him to everyone of what you have seen and heard. And now why do you wait? Rise and be baptized and wash away your sins, calling on his name. When I had returned to Jerusalem and was praying in the temple, I fell into a trance and saw him saying to me, Make haste and get out of Jerusalem quickly, because they will not accept your testimony about me. And I said, Lord, they themselves know that in one synagogue after another I imprisoned and beat those who believed in you. And when the blood of Stephen, your witness, was being shed, I myself was standing by and approving and watching over the garments of those who killed him. And he said to me, Go, for I will send you far away to the Gentiles. Up to this word they listened to him. Then they raised their voices and said, Away with such a fellow from the earth, for he should not be allowed to live. And as they were shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air, the tribune ordered him to be brought into the barracks, saying that he should be examined by flogging to find out why they were shouting against him like this. But when they had stretched him out for the whips, Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, Is it lawful for you to flog a man who is a Roman citizen and uncondemned? When the centurion heard this, he went to the tribune and said to him, What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman citizen. So the tribune came and said to him, Tell me, are you a Roman citizen? And he said, Yes. The tribune answered, I bought this citizenship for a large sum. Paul said, But I am a citizen by birth. So those who were about to examine him withdrew from him immediately, and the tribune also was afraid, for he realized that Paul was a Roman citizen and that he had bound him. But on the next day, desiring to know the real reason why he was being accused by the Jews, he unbound him and commanded the chief priests and all the council to meet, and he brought Paul down and set him before them.
The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Father, thank you for this day and this time. Thank you that my son came through his surgery and he is fine. He is just immobilized, but his spirit is good. Father, I thank you for your provision. Yeah, I have so many around me in need. Well, I'm in need, but people helping and people in my sphere that are suffering because of lack of employment. Lord, I pray that you open the floodgates, Lord. Lord, I want to employ all of these people. Father, I pray that you let loose the floodgates, Lord, that the door would open, that right moment of funding would be here quickly, Lord. Thank you for this time. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my lovely mother. In Jesus' name, amen. Hi, Mama. All right. Where do I begin? Should I just do notes? I called Mom last night. I've gotten out of the habit of taking doing my exercise, my walk. I usually do a walk/run at night, and schedules get crazy and different, and laziness creeps in. So last night I got out for my walk. I haven't run in a while, and so my cardio isn't as good. So it was more of a a brisk walk rather than a jog. So I had to call Mom. We had a nice chat last night. Things are happening, and future's coming. The future's coming. There's nothing we can do about it, but it's good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call Mom. So we talked for quite a while. Then I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm going up a hill. I'm going to be out of breath. I need to end this conversation. So, Just reading the comments. It feels like yesterday I didn't get everything off my chest. Let's see where things are. Here's an update. So I went to visit Sogelman's daughter, and it was spontaneous. I didn't have it on the calendar to do that until I realized it was a holiday on Monday, so I had an extra day. I ended up going Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and coming back Monday morning. And it's like we can't predict the details of what's coming. For example, I went on that similar kind of whim a little over a year ago when I got the first prototype of the book done. I went to visit when Sogelman's son was still alive, and I had him autograph all of them, and I made sure I filmed it and got it done. And I didn't know that was the last time I was going to see him. I didn't know. Like, I'm so grateful that on that whim, like, I got to get up there. I got to do this. So she's 90. She could live to 100. Hallelujah. I want her to, right? Her husband died at 96. She just hit 90. Women tend to live longer than their husbands. I don't know. So she could go 96, 97. But she's 90, and you don't know. And this is one of the things I was talking with my mom. Either one of us could drop dead at any moment, right? And so she being 90 could, it's more reasonable to think that she could drop dead at any moment, as horrible as that is to say. But I'm not going to have the same kind of access to the stuff when she's not here, right? My relationship has been with her and her husband, and getting up there and getting access to, like, it's her stuff. She can give me what she wants. When she dies, there's two sons, so almost two grandsons on that side. I have a relationship with one of them. The other one I've never met, but you know what I'm saying. So I was in there pilfering. I went into Sogelman's son's studio. I think I said this yesterday. I was able to go through some drawers that had stuff in them that she didn't even know or wasn't aware of. What I mean is, so this was his studio. This is where he taught all his violin lessons for the students that would come to take lessons. They would have to come to his house. And so he had his studio. It was his space, and they lived in that house for over 20 years, I would say. And so I can imagine moving in, or maybe it was even in the previous place, but there's these two dressers, kind of. They're not really dressers, but they have drawers. It's like five drawers. Not real tall, but it's just part of the decor. When she walks in there and out of there all that time, nothing stands out to her. But he has a filing system, if you will, and one of them has they're like tax documents every year they filled out. But the other one has some important stuff, clearly stuff from his childhood, from his career, so I'm able to go through these and find some quote unquote rare documents, because this is the family of Sogelman Tellerian. I'm seeing it from that point of view, as everything in here is valuable to someone, and will become more valuable as my efforts succeed. You guys understand what I'm saying? So Sogelman Tellerian is one of the most important characters in history, and I would say the most important historical character whose story hasn't been told, right? And so people who know the importance of his story would understand the value of these things, right? The artifacts from the family, from the son, etc. But as more and more people learn who he is and his name becomes more ubiquitous, those things increase in value. So just logically, I'm the guy connected to the family. I'm the guy still talking to the daughter and still, in her life, and will be in her life and for the rest of her life. And we have that special relationship. I'm like, I can go there and ask for these things. It makes sense. If some stranger goes in there, some Armenian who has Solomon Talarian as their hero shows up, she would know that person from Adam. She's not going to give him stuff, but I'm able to see it, view it, protect it with the value that it truly has. All right, enough of me babbling. It was just an amazing trip. And maybe I already mentioned as well that I had dinner the night before. Carbon steel safe, this collection of original. Yeah. Well, let me share this, something Mom said. So here I am. I recognize the value of this stuff. And you guys, because you know me and have been hearing me talk about it, you guys recognize the value of it. And so when I was telling this to Mom last night on the phone, she's like, "Where are you keeping this stuff? Where are you keeping this stuff?" I'm like, "It's in a storage unit." And she choked. She's like, I mean, she didn't really, but she was like, "Storage unit, insufficient. That won't do. It needs to be Fort Knox. It needs to be a vault. It needs to be." and I love that she appreciates that, and I agree. But having the stuff in a miscellaneous storage unit that nobody knows about is just as safe as having it in Fort Knox, right? Right now, nobody knows where it is. Nobody. So it's safe. I know where it is. And even my wife wouldn't be able to find it. So the stuff is safe. There's not enough people out there that know the value of it for it to be at risk in a random storage unit. But the storage unit is the safest place for it. Storage unit won't burn down. The storage unit won't get waterlogged. The worst that could happen in the storage unit is that I pass away and nobody knows about the storage unit and they sell it to storage unit wars. You've seen those reality shows where the guys buy this storage unit and they bid on it and they go rummaging through it looking to see if there's anything of value. I guarantee you, if they sold my storage unit the most to one of those TV shows, that people would go into this looking around and they wouldn't know, right? They wouldn't know the value of this stuff. It has to be properly presented and articulated for people to know. They would find my dad's comic book collection in the storage unit, and that has actual monetary value. I have comic books from my dad's collection that, one comic book is like $300, right? There's some rare comic books that I have in there. So that would be immediately recognizable to them as something of value. But the artifacts from Solomon Talarian's family, they wouldn't know because the name Solomon Talarian isn't even on them because he changed his name, right? So there's an alias, etc. Sorry, guys. I'm just, I'm going to read this, Chloe. Let me read this. What a privilege to be welcomed into an old person's home. I'm old. And to welcome to rummage through personal items. I guarantee you it may be her own grandchildren don't have that. Right. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So here I am, this guy who has tracked down the family of a hero. And the family themselves don't understand the importance of their own patriarch. And my goal is to bring it to the place where they figure it out, right? That it will be so known that at some point succeeding generations will recognize it. And I said to her, and I said this every time, I said, when I'm taking these things off your hands, I don't consider them my property. I have been calling myself this, and it is the fact that I am the curate, right? The curate isn't the owner of the artwork, right? The curate isn't the owner. It's the curate. It's the person protecting it and presenting it properly, right? And so I said, when your sons, they want this, they want that, it's right here. I have access. There's other things that you're not giving me right now that I want access to later. And so my relationship with them later, I'll negotiate with them. Can I get the ring? So I have an event coming up. Can I just sign it out and I'll have it securely protected? There's this very important ring that Solomon used to own. So I'm the curate going in, recognizing the things of value and putting them in a safe place so that I can prepare them for presentation for the Talarian exhibit. It's about to begin, and I didn't get to any Bible notes. Sorry, you guys. Love you guys. All right, jump over to Sovereign Artsock. Jumping over there right now. See you over there.